So this is what I think is the hardest part for people. It's so weird, especially stage speakers. Jason Flatley, and I'm going to give him credit for this because it stumped me for life. I've known Jason forever, but I went to one of his classes not long ago, which, by the way, was excellent. If you get a chance to go see him do his thing on webinars, it's fantastic. But he talked about the transition. I've always sucked at transition. I think a lot of people do. You go up, you do your headline, you make your promise, you tell your story, and then you're all stuttering and selling from your heels, right? From stage, for sure, it'll kill you, right? But even in video sales letters and other sales letters, the transition, I think, is the hardest part. And he made it so effing easy. So here it is. Recap. Recap the offer, right? So hey, by now, here, let's talk about this. By now, you know there's a solution, right? You know about me, you know about the people, you know about yada, 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 right? You're going to recap. We're going to talk about how you recap, what you recap in a second. But you want to recap what they've learned, right? Then you ask 6 yes questions. It's called a yes ladder. You offer them a 3-choice close, and then you offer your help, right? The 3-choice pivot, rather, and then help. So the recap. So how do you recap? Remind them of the pain. So for instance, say, hey, gosh damn, man, dude, I know you're lonely, right? But I know you don't want to put your head back in the lion's mouth of some psycho-American chick, right? So here's your chance. But now you know there's new hope. You know, you've probably given up. A lot of our guys have just given up. But you know what? You don't have to give up because now there's hope, right? So far you've learned this, and this. You've learned these lessons, right? You could have the life you want. You could have the girl you want. You could have the family you want. Future cast that out. Right? Pardon? DER, a desired end result. Future cast the desired end result. You could have all those things. You bullet them, right? So I hope that you really will pay attention. I hope that you'll grasp this opportunity. I'd like to ask you 6 questions before we move on. Are you happy being alone? Do you miss the companionship of somebody else? These should be questions that are all 100% for sure yeses. I forget in your sales letter what they were, but they were there. If you read the sales letter to come here, there are 6 questions. You know, do you want to sell more stuff, right? Was probably one of them. You ask the most basic question first. Would you like to sell more stuff? Would you like to not have to go through the pain of hiring more copywriters? Would you like to be able to sit down and knock out a sales piece in a few hours? Would you like all those things? So these are all things you know they're going to answer yes to. They're just reading the question mentally going yes, yes, yes. Right here, what you're hoping for is this, that they're sitting there physically nodding their head, right? Keep it very simple. It's called a yes ladder. So you build up the little more difficult questions at the end. And then you do the 3-pivot choice, the 2-choice pivot. And this was the one I could never get. And this is where Jason, I think, just nailed it for me and brought it home. So after you get the 6 answers to, they're all yes questions, you just say, well, it seems like you can say it however you want to say it, but you can say, you know, if you're like I was, you're probably at a crossroads right now. And there are really only 3 choices. You can't unknow what you learned today. You can't. It's going to eat you away from the inside. So you can either A, do nothing about it. I think you know what the result of that will be. Or you can do the same things you've been doing, right? And expect a different result, which, by the way, is the definition of insanity. So what are those things you've been doing? You can go out to bars to try to meet girls. You can try to do online dating. So what you want to do here is list out all the obvious answers because you want to squash them one at a time. Just draw lines through them. Physically in print, I would do strike through. You can go to bars. You can get referrals from your friends. You can go to church on Sunday and meeting nice girls. This is where you kind of destruct all the other options. You're whittling away every other option they have. You can go to your local camera shop, see if somebody will stop for 5 minutes in their busy day and try to show you something. You can hire a photographer, but they're in the business of taking pictures for you. They don't want to teach anything. Nobody wants to teach anything. Why would they want to? You're just competition. You can read more books. You can go to more websites. You can do all that. You can go on YouTube and get all the free advice you want from YouTube. And guess what? It's going to be worth every penny you pay for it. See what I mean? So just whittle away every other option they have. Or, you know what you can do? You can try something radically different. You can replace those things with something new. See, a replacement offer doesn't always have to be a thing. It can be just the approach. You follow? Your approach to the problem could be different. It doesn't have to be a new product. It just be an approach to the problem. You know, this is important, so I want to make sure everybody gets. These are pretty simple, but does everybody get that? One thing would be like P90X, right? You know, hey, look, you're not in your best shape, right? You know, you're not in good shape, right? So you know now that there's a different solution, right? So you can do nothing. You can do the same things you've been doing, probably like eating right and going to the gym, but who wants to do that? Or you can replace it with my brand new calisthenics program. It's going to turn you into a six-pack ab guy in 20 minutes, right? Whatever the case may be. This is where it's important that in the beginning, your approach be very different. Because in the bottom, you're going to need to come back to that and point out again why your approach is really different. Like in your case, you can watch YouTube videos, you can try to learn, you can do all that. Or you can submerge, guess how, this would be a good close for you. So you know the fastest way to learn French? Go live in France. The easiest way to learn a foreign language is to submerge yourself in it. It's to go to France. Now you can hire one guy to teach you how to take pictures, but you're going to get one person's perspective, right? How would you like to be in a community full of people just like you who have already been there, done that? Some experts, some beginners, some in between, along with our trusted staff acting as Sherpas to show you the way up the mountain. Right? See, there's a radically different approach. That's how you just took membership and made it a radically different approach. Does that make sense? Yeah. Right? I could use that for any membership that we have. We could do it with War Room. You could tell people that, look, you've been doing this on your own. You've been learning here and there. You've been reading all the books you can get, but there's no interactivity to that. How would you like just to be in a room of 160 multimillionaires 4 times a year and figure out how they got there? Right? What do you think is going to be a faster approach? What do you think is going to be more dense? What do you think is going to be more rich? It's submersive, right? It's submersive. I think the submersive part of a membership, if you're selling a membership program, because membership programs are kind of hard to sell. If you can sell it as a submersive experience, because there's one of those things, if this is true, then this must be true also, right? Everybody knows it's hard to learn a foreign language. You probably always heard it's hard to speak French, right? You probably also heard that it's easy if you just go live in France. Probably what you don't know is that's true with almost anything you do. So if you approach this differently, being submersed in a community of people that are into this thing, you're more likely